Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, I want to talk about the red pill. Listen, man, this is going to be a quick one, just so you know. This is just something I want to touch on simply because I do get a lot of gentlemen on this site who take a real hardcore red pill approach to the way they conduct their life and the way they're moving when it comes to relationship, especially relationship, and how they address dating. And this sort of prompted me for two simple reasons. I had a lady call me, and she said her boyfriend has been watching my channel for a while, and he watched other red pill channels. And she said, listen, I agree with the red pill as well. However, she feels that sometimes he takes it a little bit too far, where she almost feels that he wants her to be completely submissive to him. And it got me thinking. I think a lot of gentlemen who do fall into this red pill space are looking for this ultra submissive woman when it comes to relationships. And because they're not getting that, they will dismiss all women. They will dismiss relationships. And one thing I realize about life, anything that you take to an extreme, you will ultimately alienate the other side, even the middle. So you have to be careful, gentlemen, on how you address these things from a red pill perspective. And I was trying to define what red pill meant. I wanted to come up with the ultimate way to describe to those of you that don't understand what red pill means, not only to the general internet. I wanted to define it in its most, academic perspective. So of course I went to my friend ChatGPT, and she defined it like this. I say she because I've given mine a female voice. She said, red pill content online often centers around men's self-improvement, perfect, dating dynamics, and criticism of the modern societal norms, especially regarding gender roles. It emphasizes concepts like male self-empowerment, personal responsibility, and skepticism of mainstream narrative. While it has garnered a significant following for its straightforward, sometimes controversial takes on relationships and masculinity, it also faces criticism for fostering divisive or overly simplistic views on complex issues. It can be a valuable tool for some, but like any online content, it's important to approach it with a critical mind and a balanced perspective. Now, I thought that was a pretty good definition of how we should approach everything in life, right? I think one of the biggest divides we have in this world is the massive division between political parties. Whether you're in the UK, whether you're in the US, we have political parties that divides us, right? And keeping people divided is one sure way of controlling the masses. It's the same thing religions have done. We have tons of different religions, and everybody's convinced that their religion is the religion. Keep people divided on a global basis, and it's easier to control them. It's also a way to unite people. I am not in a party of anyone. I do not consider my content to be red-pilled. I consider my content to be what my father taught me, what I grew up understanding about relationships, my life experience going through my former relationship. And more importantly, this is critical, gentlemen, is learning critical thinking skills, learning how to decipher what's right or wrong based on logic, based on what works, what doesn't. I don't look at anything from a surface perspective. So that information is what I'm bringing you. Now, some of that information falls on the red pill concept because I realize that we've been lied to on so many different issues, whether it's political, whether it's COVID, whether it's war, whatever the agenda is that the elites want us to believe, those who control the media, those who control the massive amount of information. That is the narrative. That is what you're going to live by. One of the biggest shockers that hit me as I grew older, right? I grew up in the Caribbean. And one of the stories that were told to us, and it's still being told, is that Christopher Columbus discovered the West Indies, discovered the Caribbean. Think about that, right? He discovered it. And I used to admire this guy. The 3 ships that he came to the West Indies with. And we were bombarded with this information. And he was known as a hero. And we have Christopher Columbus Day because he discovered the Caribbean and the West Indies, as he puts it. He thought he was actually in India. He was such an idiot. That's why they've named it the West Indies. He thought that, let's not go there. Point is, until I listened to a black man who had this one simple message. He said this: how can a man discover something and claim it to be new when someone else was already there in the first place? He said, imagine a man coming into your house and saying, this is my house because I have found it. You being there is irrelevant because you are not civilized. And it just blew my mind. It really woke me up to realize that the lie that I have been told, that this man was a discoverer. Discoverer of who? Discoverer of what? And I don't want to get political or into these social weeds, but I'm trying to get you guys to understand that there's a distinct difference between what you have been told and programmed to believe versus what is real. The other hard truth that I had to deal with as I became older was this one simple point. History is told by the victors. The only truth that you will hear about anything is by the people who have won, who have conquered. If you go to Vietnam and you talk to people there, Americans are murderers. If you go to any country where America has infiltrated, they are considered terrorists. Being on this side of the world, you hear it all the time. The video games over here, invented on this side of the world, the Americans are the terrorists. You go to America and you play video games over here, the ragheads, the guys that have the turbines, they're the terrorists. So always remember, my friends, there are 2 sides to every single story that you hear. One is by the guy who lost, and the other is by the guy who won. And the guy who won, he has the ability to control the media. And whatever the media says, whatever is pumped into people's head, the masses' head, that is the story that's going to be told over and over and over. And your ancestors and the next generation will hear a different version until the story is so well ingrained by the new generation and the old generation have died out who knew the truth. They are no longer existing. The new generation only has the new information. That's how the world works, my friends. So all I'm saying is that we've reached this crossroad in the dynamics of males and females. And gentlemen, we're not going to go back to the old days when men were in absolute control. And ladies, you got to understand that there's no way that you're going to have ultimate control over every white-collar job and the powers in Congress. That will never happen. So what we have to do is come to a common ground. We have to meet somewhere in the middle. And this is where most of us fail to view it because everybody wants theirs. So let's look at it from a relationship perspective. Gentlemen, I did a video the other day of this woman telling you the do's and the don'ts of dating. So she was giving men some advice on what not to do when they're dating. Now, she's in her 50s or 60s. She's older. Of course, the men really went buck wild on telling this woman she's too old to be giving advice to men on what to do. I'll read you a few of the comments because I just found it a bit disturbing that the men are pushing the narrative that far. So let me read a few. Rico Suave said, that woman seems to have a lot of experience with older men. Getting flown into town for dates, etc. She looks alright for her age, which I'm guessing is somewhere over 50. But man, I wouldn't be excited to date her. I hope to be an older man that dates younger. Yes, I gotta get some additional resources. Yes, I mentioned in my video, if you don't have resources, my friend, most younger women are not gonna see you as an attractive option. Yeah, you know what? Richard Gere, Al Pacino, all of these old dudes, these guys in their 60s, 70s, yeah, they can pick up some baddies 35 years old. But you, Bill, Jimmy, Jeff, Steven, You regular dudes that, hey, you might have a nice house that's paid for. You might have a nice little boat. You might have a little cabin out by the lake. Sure, you might be able to pick up some 40-year-olds, some 50-year-olds, or some little, even if you're good looking, you're taking care of your body, you might pick up a few little baddies. You might get lucky. But I'll tell you, gentlemen, the younger you go, the more money you better have. Because these women, their asset is their youth. So they're exchanging their youth for your money. Otherwise, there is no value to you with your aging body. So because this woman was older, a lot of men just went like, I wouldn't date her, not at her. She's in her 50s. But yet, I look at some of you guys, you're in your 60s, 70s. What type of woman you think you're going to get in that age group if it's not a 50-year-old? Please tell me. And would you want a 30-year-old around you when you're 60? Really? She'll be sucking your money like a bloody vacuum because her appetite for the bag, for the traveling, for the stuff, for the car, and then you know she's going to be hitting on some younger dude to get in some real good hard D. She's not going to get that from you. So you might be able to buy her services and buy her temporary loyalty, but in reality, my friend, hey, it's going to be an older woman who's already gone through a divorce, who already had kids. She's already accumulated some assets from her previous divorce. And if she's a professional, she has her own. So all you're basically looking for is companionship. And for those of you who said, well, I'll prefer to be on my own, then by all means. But then you're going to that extreme again. You're saying, I'm not able to get a little 30-year-old, little 35-year-old. Therefore, I'm going to stay on my own. Really? There's nothing wrong with a 50-year-old woman who has her faculties together, who's willing to be with you because of you. A woman will take what she can from you regardless of what age she is. But whether she's going to be there for you, that is what you have not thought of. Now, like I said, by all means, you can be on your own. But what kind of life is that? Isn't it nicer to just have a good companion there with you? Same age group, or at least close enough that you have something in common to talk about? You both have a past. So you see my point. Some of you criticize the woman because she pointed out, hey, men, listen, take care of yourself. Take care of your nails. Don't have holes in your underwear. Learn to stand up straight. Dress well. Those are the things that will help you attract women. Oh, some of you went off the rails because, this is just basic information. Why is she telling a man this? Every man knows that. Listen, once we reach a certain age, we pretty much know everything about everything. Do we do it or do we execute? The answer is no, we don't, because we become complacent, we become lazy. It's channels like this and what I'm saying to you reminds you that you got to do the freaking thing. But most of my information, you know it. Most of you are not motivated to do it. And the reason why we're not motivated to do it, because we got so complacent in being alone, doing our own thing, having our own way, but yet we're lonely. Well, listen, my friends, you got to give up something to get something. Whether it's in money, attention, energy, or time. Meat. You got to give up one of those to get something back, because that woman is going to need something as well. And for you ladies, remember, you got to give up something as well. You got to bring your femininity. Some level of submissiveness. I said some, because I know most of you are not going to be completely submissive. And gentlemen, there lies the issue. You got to realize that most of these women are not going to be completely submissive. Some are going to be argumentative. But at least if she's arguing about the right things, that's good. But you got to learn to give up something, my friends. Even me being married, sometimes I just got to say, okay, whatever. All right, that's what you want? Fine. Takes nothing off of my shoulders. It's not detrimental to the relationship. I give her leeway because that's the way life is. We got to give and take. But if you guys are so far red pilled that if the woman don't do exactly what you want her to do, that you're going to dismiss her, you're screwing yourselves, my friends. So, to conclude, just on this short rant, was it short? I don't even know how long I've been going, but realize that if you're so far red-pilled, you better check yourself, because you'll end up alone just following that narrative where the woman has to conform to you, follow your leadership, etc., etc. One thing you should not do not lead with that when going into a relationship. That is something that could be drip fed throughout the relationship. But you also have to understand there has to be some level of compromise in order to have harmony. Because in the end, the woman is a human being as well. She's also been programmed. You can deprogram a bit out of her, but you also have to realize you've been programmed. And you have to be deprogrammed a bit. And that's why you have to come together in the middle. That is what brings harmony. Okay? I always like to do the rings. The two intersectional rings. There's you, her, and the relationship in the middle. The same thing applies to marriage. There's you, her, and that cross, that middle piece, that is the marriage. That's how you should look at it. So whether it's a relationship or marriage, the same thing applies. All right, my friends, that is my rant for today. By all means, let's have a discussion in the comments section. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up on this message. And remember, join our community on askanolderman.com or book a chat. So until next time, remember, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.